Hello friends and adventurers, and welcome to a new and exciting series on my channel, my very first full playthrough of Nethergate Resurrection. This is a remake of the original Nethergate from 1999 by Spiderweb Software. I believe Resurrection came out in mid-2000s-ish? Somebody correct me on that if I'm wrong. Anyway, despite playing all of the Exiles and all of the Avernums, somehow I never actually played any Nethergate when I was young. I didn't even really know it existed. I don't know if we just missed that issue of Mac Addict, if it kind of fell in the hole between CD distribution and good internet access. For whatever reason, I know much less about this game than I do about the Avernum and Geneforge series. What I do know, that I have since learned, is that this game can be played in two halves, effectively. There's a Roman campaign and a Celtic campaign. So we can do New Game, Load Game, Character Editor, and enjoy the little illustrations that go along with these. How to order and lose your money. Register, unlock the copy. Or quit. And these illustrations, although they're in a similar style, they are not done by Phil Folio. So I get to choose, do I play as Romans or Celts first? The two adventures are very different, and things that seem mysterious when playing one side are often made clear when you play the other. I'm going to do the Romans first. You are a small band of Roman soldiers sent to Shadowvale to complete a mysterious mission. Being Romans, your military training and weapon skills are first-rate, but you will have great difficulty drawing from the magical energies of the Vale. Yes, I'm going to save the cool magic stuff for later. Creating your party. You are about to create your soldiers. These Roman warriors will explore Shadowvale, attempting to outwit and defeat the barbarians and their mysterious and powerful allies. You can control up to 4 characters. 4 is recommended, but skilled players can make do with less. You'll start out with 4 pre-made characters with a good mix of skills and abilities. If you're a new player, you should probably just accept these characters by pressing the Done button to the lower right. Well, I'm new to this game, but not new to Spiderweb in general, so I will be taking a good look at everybody's statistics. So the prefab party includes Spurious, a first-rate swordsman and no slouch with other melee weapons as well. Publius, the best spearman available, though not very good with swords. Titus, an excellent javelineer and reasonably skilled, though not great, with other weapons. And Aulus, born and raised on Britannia, and has picked up some of the Celts' unusual druidic skills. Can also change graphics if I feel like it. So here we can see all of the base stats and skills. Strength, how muscular you are, influences how much you can carry and how much damage your blows do in combat. Dex is how fast you are on your feet, helps you act sooner in combat, hit more often, and be less likely to be hit by foes. Also makes missile weapons do more damage. Intelligence, how good you are at thinking things out and solving problems. A character with high intelligence will have much more powerful spells. And boy am I glad that I learned to do long division with Arabic numerals and not the Roman ones. Oof. Endurance measures how hardy you are. The more endurance you have, the more health you'll have, and the less poison and other such afflictions will affect you. Also helps resist harmful magic. Melee weapons skill with melee weapons, i.e. swords and spears. Oh, well actually. Okay, so melee weapons is basically going to be swords, then there's spears, then there's javelins, with a very cheeky illustration here. Can also invest skill in slings, which is expensive for Romans. according to the game tips, Romans are good with javelins and Celts are very good with slings. Armor use enables you to wear and get benefit from bulky armor. The more of the skill you have, the more your armor protects you. Also keeps your armor from slowing you down and taking your AP in combat. Again, that's probably a bit cheaper for the Romans than it is for the Celts. I have not confirmed that yet. Hardiness acts like natural armor. Each level of hardiness has a chance of reducing damage from attacks. Defense helps you avoid the blows of your enemies. Reduces their chance of hitting you in melee. Roman training. Roman military training was unmatched at its time. Each level of Roman training increases the chance of hitting and damage for both melee and missile attacks. Nifty. Also, definitely not available for the Celtic campaign. There's also Druid skills, which we are mostly not going to be learning on this half of the playthrough. Druidism is the basic knowledge necessary to cast Druid spells. You can't learn any other Druid skills until you buy some of this one. Also makes your spells more effective. And we can learn spells from the Health and the War circle. Then there's useful skills like First Aid. Use this skill to heal wounded characters, restoring health. At high levels, restores more health, spell energy, and cures ailments. Herbcraft determines how knowledgeable you are with herbs and potions. The higher this skill, the more potions you'll be able to make, and the higher your chance of making extra doses. Also helps you resist poison and disease. Tool use is how good you are at working with simple mechanical devices. For example, picking locks and disarming traps. Only one character needs to get this. Good to know. One of my favorite skills, Luck. Helps you whenever something random happens around you, which is often. And then, much like Avernum, we've got various traits. Although I should say, Avernum is much like Nethergate because Nethergate was actually the first game to use this particular game engine. And then Avernum built off of that. So traits include Fairy Blood. You were born on Britannia, and one of your parents was a bit exotic. Because of this, all sorts of hostile magic have less of an effect on you, and the fairy folk will sometimes treat you more kindly. You wouldn't know it to look at you, but you were born with an exceptionally strong constitution. You'll resist all sorts of damage. That sounds like a useful one. Druid Mastery. Some people learn the magical rituals of the druids. For you, they're as natural as walking and breathing. All of your spells receive bonuses, and you can cast mage spells even while wearing encumbering armor. So that's basically like natural mage in Avernum. Strong Back. You are strong, stout, and easily able to bear heavy loads. You can carry more weight. And armor encumbers you less than it normally would. Very familiar. You are lucky enough to have received a blessing in your past. Because of this, you can occasionally call a fairy to aid you. Cute. Fast on feet. There's no moss growing on you. You can move much faster than others. You'll act sooner in combat, and sometimes you'll even be able to take extra actions. Good health. No matter how beaten down you are, you can recover. Once a day, you can call on your natural good constitution to recover most of your lost health. That sounds sort of good. And only 5% XP penalty. Limitless energy. There is within you a fountain of natural magical energy. Once a day, you can draw upon these reserves to restore most or all of your lost spell energy. Mighty Warrior. You're a natural-born fighter. Every weapon is your friend, and every target jumps in the way of your blows. Your hit chance in combat is much better, and your attacks will do more damage. But a hefty 15% XP penalty on that one. And then the negative traits. Cursed at birth. You were born under a bad sign. You've been down since you began to crawl. If it wasn't for bad luck, you wouldn't have no luck at all. Isn't that based on a song? Sluggish. You're always kind of sleepy. Sluggish. A bit slow on your feet. Because of this, you'll always get less action points in combat. At least you get more time to smell the flowers. Frail. You are a sickly child, and the harsh ancient environment hasn't been easy on you. Physical blows and the ravages of poison and acid will affect you more heavily. Stumbling feet. You have clumsy feet. They have a remarkable ability to steer you into the path of oncoming blows. Your enemies will hit you more often. They practically can't help it. Rational mind. The Greeks brought about a more scientific, rational age, and you've really bought into it. All this magic stuff bugs you. You can't use magical items, and any spell you cast will be very weak. I'm betting that can't use magical items includes wands, scrolls. Not sure about potions, if they count as magic in this game yet. I don't know if I want to experiment with that. I might. We've also got our useful skills like max health, spell energy, chance to resist poison, resist magic. Willpower helps you resist the effects of mental attacks. Rune reading helps you understand strange runes and writing you find in your journeys. Elemental resistance helps you resist effects of fire and cold attacks. Never mind that they've put lightning in the illustration here. We do not start with any special items. Ooh, we've got various potion recipes. Healing Draft. This concoction cures a reasonable, though not great, amount of damage, and tastes good as well. Only need 1 Herbcraft skill to make. Very nice. Energy Draft. 9 out of 10 druids recommend this potion for those who need extra spell energy. Drink and begin casting! Hasting Draft. When drunk in combat, this powerful liquid doubles your speed, enabling you to outrace and outfight your foes. So in other words, the opposite of being drunk in combat. Ha ha ha. Strength Elixir. Drink this in combat, and watch your muscles swell and your skin grow stiff and hard. You'll be able to fight with the strength of 2. Balm of Life. While this potent balm is useless by itself, it enables you to cast spells that restore life. Oh good, I like having the ability to do that. Woad. The trademark blue battle markings of the Celtic warrior came from this herbal concoction. It contains chemicals which promote great enthusiasm in battle. Apparently. Healing Elixir, a much richer and more powerful variant of the standard issue healing potion. Healing Elixir is the guaranteed cure for that which ails you. Oh, nifty. Mistletoe is an herb in this game. I guess it takes the place of the mythical mandrake. Energy Elixir restores a large number of spell points, which can hopefully be used to get yourself out of whatever mess you find yourself in. Haste Elixir is a brackish, chunky fluid that gives the imbiber great speed for a short time, enabling him or her to cut a wide swath through battle. Brackish and chunky, so, may have similar effect to coffee, but tastes even worse. Restoration Brew. A stunningly powerful and effective restorative brew. Cures negative effects and damage and restores spell energy. I think I will cover the druid spells later on, as I learn them, or perhaps more in the Celtic side. Naturally, we don't have any quests yet. And I'm not starting with special abilities. Okay, so, Spurious. I've got 6 extra skill points. Where do I want to put them? You've got quite a lot of melee weapon skill. Basically going to ignore druidism on you. I do have a point in luck already. I cannot afford more strength or dex. Could put some more into endurance. So I think what I may do instead is spread it out among armor use, hardiness, and defense. And once I hit the edit statistics screen and go back, your description goes away. Lovely. Okay, so spear person. Spear person has some tool use. And again, is excellent with spears. And again, cannot afford more strength or dex. Unless I lower down something else. I don't know if dexterity has any impact on tool use and success with picking locks and disarming traps. And honestly, if you're going to be mostly a spear user, then why even put extra points in melee? I could give you some extra javelin skill. Sure, that'll work. Also, I totally forgot to re-examine the traits on my first guy Spurious here. Fast on feet could be good for a melee character. And Publius has no traits. I'll make him extra tough. Oh, I don't think I read out Beastmaster. Animals like you. A lot. In fact, sometimes when you're in trouble, you can call a wolf to aid you. That does make more sense for a Celt than for a Roman, so I'm probably going to ignore that for now. Also, I've never gotten a lot of use out of Beastmaster in any of the Avernums. It's can be cool to have a summon once a day at low levels, but generally you get pretty low level summons. Okay, Titus, you are the ranged weapon specialist. So you've got lots of skill in javelin. And not a whole lot of endurance, and a surprisingly high amount of intelligence considering you have no druid skills. Not sure if I'll want to have your backup weapon be melee or spear just yet. I think swords tend to be more common, but spears are more powerful. Also, let's give you some Roman training. Oh, you've got a special skill. You've got woodscraft. How much you know about finding your way through the wilderness. Helps you avoid outdoor wandering monsters and find potion-making herbs. Well, let's capitalize on that and give you 1 or 2 points in herbcraft and maybe first aid. If I can find something to sacrifice for first aid. And finally, Aulus. Aulus also has some first aid and herbcraft, And more importantly, he is the one with some druid skill. He's also got a barter skill. How good you are at trading with shopkeepers. More of the skill you have, the more money you get when selling your items. Very cool. He also comes with druid mastery for some reason. That will make the spellcasting thing easier. Though I do rather like the cast mage spells while wearing armor. Is it a terrible idea to give you the frail trait? It's not so bad if I keep the frail character on the back lines where he's not getting hit by enemies as much, but frail characters getting hit with poison and acid can be bad. Definitely don't want to give this one the rational mind. What the heck? Let's have a little fun and give a Roman soldier some fairy blood. Ha ha ha. This totally makes sense. Okay. I'm gonna give my leader guy the rational mind. And I'm not going to make you sit through all of the clicking and deciding on what character icons I'm going to use. So I will be back in a moment. The place is the farthest reach of the Roman Empire, on the border between order and chaos. You are deep in the wilds of the island of Britannia, which have only just been touched by the civilizing hand of Rome. The time is the reign of Nero, the most recent in a series of mad or ineffectual emperors. It is a time of rebellion. Even now, a rebel tribe, led by a queen named Boudica, are ravaging the lands to the east. You were a small band of warriors, marching in your century of soldiers towards the rebellion, hoping to slow down the slaughter of Roman citizens. You were eager to help put down the barbarian rabble, but you never get there. One night, In the middle of your relaxing 4 hours of sleep after the long day's march, you are shaken awake. But you manage to lurch towards consciousness. It's your Optio, the second in command in your century. You are taken to see the Centurion, where you are given new, highly unusual orders. 4 days of even harder marching later, you arrive at Shadow Valley Fort. At least, that's what you've been told it's called. You've never heard of it. You've never noticed it on any of the maps you've seen. In fact, nobody you know has ever mentioned it at all. It's in the land of the Brigantes tribe, a tribe loyal to Rome, and as peaceful as any in these parts. You have no idea why you were brought here. It's well after dark when you finally arrive. Guards come out quickly and bring you inside. You're shown to your quarters, a small, comfortable building with 4 beds. During the time spent being guided here, not one word was said about the reason for it. Your rank is low, and you can see little reason, other than general competency, why you have been singled out. Before the guard returns to his post, he says, "Welcome to Shadow Valley Fort. Tomorrow you can speak with Commander Vibius. He will explain why you're here. Good night." That wasn't very helpful. Perhaps tomorrow things will be made clear. Arrival. Forget not, Roman, that it is your special genius to rule the people, to impose the ways of peace, to spare the defeated, and to crush those proud men who will not submit. Virgil, the Aeneid. Okay, I am ready to start the game with my brand new party of Roman soldiers. And they've all got new names and graphics that I like a little better than the standard prefab ones. I am in my quarters on day 1. So we've got Marcus the Swordsman, Fabian the Spearman, Rufus the Javelineer, and Septimus the Magic User. Because I like the idea of my magic user being a 7th son. Hee. So I am slightly disappointed that everybody gets the same character graphic on the inventory screen. I suppose better graphics are something that came with Avernums rather than Nethergate. Fair enough. Also, I've got stuff. Roman soldiers come equipped with a healing draft. A small bottle of weak potion. It was made using the arcane techniques of Shadowvale, and thus drinking it will have some sort of immediate effect. Iron short sword. Swords were the weapon of choice for most warriors at the time. They were used for both slashing and stabbing, and had blades from 12 to 22 inches long. The blades were usually made of iron, though bronze was sometimes used. Yeah, no stone weapons in this one. Except for rocks flung from slings, I guess. But we'll see that later. Javelins, wooden shafts with soft iron tips, were the missile weapon of choice for the Roman soldiers. Most soldiers carried 3 javelins with them into battle. A wooden shield. This is a small round shield, or clipius, sometimes worn strapped to an arm, sometimes held by a handle in the middle. The design provides less protection than the full-length body shields, but it's lighter and easier to maneuver. Iron-studded armor. Roman soldiers often wore scale mail in combat. This was a leather jerkin with pieces of overlapping metal attached. In Nethergate, this is referred to as studded leather armor. So nobody's got shoes yet. I'd like to fix that one when I can. And instead of armor, Septimus is wearing a toga. The garb of choice for the Roman gentleman. It's folded from a long, semicircular piece of cloth. Not a bedsheet, as frat houses would have us believe. Hee. Also, is that the same or just very similar graphic to the dress from Avernum? I think it's just similar. I could be wrong. Septimus also does not have a shield, but he does have an energy draft. Ooh, plus 50 spell points, nice. Anyway, there's a piece of paper on the table. Let's pick it up. I can use the piece of paper. Someone left a note for you while you slept. Welcome to Shadow Valley Fort. We're sure you are eager to get your orders and to complete the task you were sent here to perform. Please go to headquarters to see Commander Vibius. He will tell you more. HQ is in the center of the fort, at the north end of the central courtyard. Also, be sure to look in the dresser and the supply room to the east. We've provided some extra equipment you may find useful. Signed, Praefectus Castorum Decimus. Okay. Now that you have the note, use it to read it. Thank you, game instructions. Press the lightning bolt button by an item to use it. After reading the note, you'll probably want to get rid of it. To drop an item, click on it to pick it up, move it onto the terrain, and click again to drop it. Unfortunately, the Nethergate engine does not allow me to choose exactly where to place an item except for on the floor. Okay, we've got some dried meat, another healing potion, and first aid kit. Dried meat. This is food. You use up 1 unit of food every time you rest. The first aid kit is a sack filled with medicinal herbs, bandages. Wind, I think, is supposed to be wine, and turpentine for sterilization. And crude surgical instruments. In other words, the standard medical equipment at the time. Having this item helps you perform first aid. Also, I thought that I gave Fabian a slightly different character graphic. Huh. Yeah, Fabian should have a smaller helmet, but on screen it's the same yellow helmet as Marcus. Oh well. You step out of your quarters and see Shadow Valley Fort in the daylight for the first time. It's a nice fort. Stone buildings. New. Well built. That's the problem. When you looked on the maps before you came here, Shadow Valley Fort was marked as a small outpost, tiny, barely even worth noticing. Now that you're here, however, you see a serious fortress, well built and maintained. Even more peculiar, however, is the silence. This is a tumultuous time on Britannia, what with the nearby rebellion and the large number of hostile barbarians. This fort should be a beehive of activity and preparation. Instead, the few soldiers you see about seem apathetic, almost uninterested. No, that's not right. They look resigned. They act as if they have nothing to do with what's going on around them. That's not like a soldier of the mighty Roman Empire. Perhaps you should go find Vibius Valerius Rufus, the fort commander you were told to see upon arrival. He might be able to clarify what is going on. Hey, Rufus, I like that name. It means red. Sign. Storeroom. I was told to look in here. Even though this storeroom was recently built, it's already started to develop a layer of dust. These supplies have been waiting here, untouched, for a few months. You can't be sure if they were left here for you, but it's unlikely anyone would mind, or even notice, if you took a few things for yourself. There might be something useful inside the boxes, too. I mean, I'm pretty sure they are left here for me. The note told me to look in here. As you walk towards the northeastern corner of the storeroom, you notice that the floor gets a little uneven. This is unusual for a Roman fort. They're usually more carefully built than this. It'll probably be fixed soon. Interesting. Ooh, we've got healing and spiritual herbs. A superior longsword. Yeah, that's a lot more damage. We also got some candles, more javelins, and 1 pair of boots. Okay, who wants to carry the light sources? Let's see. Yeah, Marcus is my enlightened fellow with a rational mind. So he gets to hold the candles for now. Apples. And another first aid kit. I have put a couple points into first aid and herbcraft on Rufus, partially since he has woodscraft and that feels like it makes sense, and also because it's often good to have a backup healer. And more meat. Visitors' quarters. These barracks are all set up and furnished. The beds are ready. All this building needs is the soldiers to fill it. It doesn't look like anyone has been stationed here yet. Everything is new and dusty. Seems like people are expecting something to happen soon. Could pick up a jar of cheap wine if I like. And there's a bucket here. I imagine this is the toilet area. Ooh, lockpicks, yes. Entertaining scroll, okay. Cloak, another toga, and a strigil. Yep. Welcome to Let's Examine Inventory Items for most of an episode. Cloak, the 0 AD equivalent of a nice warm jacket. A cloak is a heavy sheet of cloth affixed around the neck with a clasp, called a fibulae. And the strigil. The Romans didn't have soap. To do serious cleaning, they would coat themselves with oil and scrape it off with a metal or wood implement, called a strigil. Let's all give thanks for soap. Yeah, Jeff did some serious research for this game, and it shows. Lockpick is a long, thin piece of metal with a hook at one end, suitable for opening a lock when one doesn't have the key. The Romans were able to make locks, although the Celts were not so mechanically inclined, apparently. Entertaining scroll. This is a papyrus scroll. Something has been written on it. Use it to read it. Has an unusual ability. The scroll contains a story of adventure and conquest, vividly illustrated, with a few amorous interludes thrown in. Its contents aren't too relevant to your current quest, but they sure are fun. Alright, I wanted to investigate the corner of this room. Yeah, usually a message like that is a sign of secret passage or some such. Apparently not this time. Roman soldier, it's a guard! You make small talk with this soldier for a little while. You trade a few exciting, and exaggerated, tales of campaigns past, but you learn nothing of note. Hello. Centurion Manicus. Also, I'm going to do my best with the Latin names here, but no promises as far as actual accuracy. You have encountered one of your superiors. This centurion turns to speak with you. He's short, but built like a marble pillar, and a rough scar runs from his forehead to his chin. He's made no effort to disguise it. I am Centurion Manicus, at ease. His voice sounds like bits of gravel are scraping together in his throat. Vibius told me to stay in here as long as I kept rambling about the Empire. You're a commander here? Yes, I'm in charge of one of the 3 sentries at this fort, he rasps. We're in charge of keeping this vale pacified. You've got 3 centuries here? 300 soldiers? 3 centuries means about 300 soldiers. That's what we have here. Not much, but all we need. I have good men, weak and young, but enough for pacification. He practically spits out the last word. Our mission is to pacify the savages. Officially, I suppose. To the extent that anyone remembers that this fort is here. What a waste. We are soldiers of the Roman Empire, the scourges of the earth, and we are spending the years chasing around barbarians and the worthless brigantes. Savages. The brigantes are good servants to the Empire, as they should be. That Cartimandua keeps them in line. But those rebels, that's a different matter. We should have slaughtered them 10 times over by now. Yes, that's what the Roman Empire has come to. Who is this Cartimandua? Queen Cartimandua, he leers. She kisses what the Romans tell her to, when they tell her, like a good savage should. He laughs. And how about this rebellion? Territory lost, thousands of Romans dead, all because of a band of worthless Iceni. I wish I could take my century out there. We'd show that rabble a thing or two. But we're stuck here in this valley. Typical. So I take it you have some thoughts about the Empire? When you ask about the Roman Empire, he spits into a pot on the floor and prepares to launch into a fresh tirade. Then you watch as a thought seems to work its way slowly through his head. He puzzles over it for a while and changes his mind about speaking. Got nothing to say about that. Nothing is wrong. That I can tell you about. What do you think of this fort? Shadow Valley Fort, sitting boldly in the middle of nowhere, for no good reason. He frowns. We're very proud. And why do you think this fort is here? To chase barbarians. But that's what the Roman Empire has come to, isn't it? That's what we do now, eh? Wasting our time on these savages. Okay, I think that's all the information I'm getting from you. At least for now. And who's this fellow wandering in the open? Appius. This Roman soldier has his armor spit-polished to the point where it practically glows, and he walks with a pride and bearing which is unusual for a lowly Principa. My name is Appius. I am the signifer for my century. That explains his proud bearing. The signifer bears the standard of his century. It's both a great honor and a solemn responsibility. If the revolt comes here, believe me, I'm ready to die for the glory of Rome. Good for you. What are your duties here? Oh, the normal soldier things. Plus, he adds modestly, I bear the standard for my century. Tell me about it. There are 3 centuries stationed at this fort, about 300 men in all. That's an unusually small number for a fort this size. Okay, I was thinking it was a fairly large number, but shows what I know. Maybe I should let Jeff do the educating here. I bear the standard for my century. It's our emblem, and I make sure that no matter what, we don't lose it. He grins. I'm also in charge of the burial club, so that makes me a person you should get to know. What's the burial club? Yeah, when you die, you don't just want your meat to be left out for the wolves and wild dogs, do you? That's what the burial club is for. I see. You pay me a mere 50 coins, and when you die, we make sure that you get a dignified burial, befitting a Roman. If you ever want to join, just let me know. Maybe later. Fair enough. Some people prefer to end up eaten by wild dogs or thrown on a scrap heap. Your choice. Not my job to judge. Anything else you'd like to know? Have you heard anything about the revolt? Boudica's revolt? We hear things, but no fighting has reached us yet. I don't know much about it. Others would, though. Just ask around. There's a lot of people here. And after you've helped the commander out a few times, talk to people again. They might help you more once they know they can trust you. Let's see. Oh, I did ask him about the standard, but not why worry over a lost standard. He looks at you as if you should know everything he's talking about. Why, the standard is the honor of the century. If I lose it, in combat or any other time, well, I'll have to answer for it. He pats his sword and looks at you meaningfully. So what normal soldier things do you do, aside from carrying your standard? I'm a soldier for life. But then, who isn't? I collect my pay, go on patrol, help watch the weird happenings in the Vale. Oh? Weird happenings? He suddenly seems nervous, as if he said something wrong. Well, you know, with the revolt, everything that's happening is a little weird, but just the sorts of weirdness you'd expect. Yes? He smiles feebly. Ah, yes. Expected weirdness. Perfectly normal weirdness. Great Augustus, don't let me drop it. Okay, looks like some other storeroom. Oh, that's cool. Only the bags that have stuff in them will let me look. And it's bolts of cloth and sacks of grain that I'm really not interested in. Ooh. The door is locked. I can have my strongest character try to bash it down, or have my most skilled character try to pick the lock. First, I will save. Hooray! I opened the door. With my fist. Or possibly a good strong kick. The dust stinging your eyes, you push your way through the half-open door into the back storeroom. Peering through the gloom, you see a large dog watching you. No, wait, that's not a dog. What is that thing? Giant rat? Hostile giant rat. Ooh, and some silver coins. Well, that was easy. Well, he dropped a poor fur, but money is money. Ooh, amphora of wine. Better than the cheap stuff. And some empty amphoras. Now, is it pronounced amphora or amphora? I think it might be the second one. I'll have to look that up later. Amphorae were the jugs used for transporting and storing large amounts of that incredibly significant liquid, wine. No gentleman's kitchen was complete without several of these things propped up in the corner. Okay, the full amphora, or amphora, whichever it is, has the same description, but the ability is contains alcohol. Whee! And cannot look at the stack over there. Just filling up my map. You enter the valetudinarium, where wounded soldiers come to expose themselves to the harsh ministrations of Roman medicine. Some get better on their own. Some survive, after an amputation or three. And some end up no better off than if they just stayed on their backs on the field of battle. Yee. I am so glad I live in an era of good antibiotics and anesthetics. Pitcher, a healing draft that is not mine, and an empty bucket. Let's just see if these things have fun descriptions. Ah. Everyone loved their wine, and people generally served it from pitchers such as this. Sometimes they were clay, sometimes metal. Wealthier households used finely decorated metal flagons. Buckets are marvelous multi-purpose containers. They can carry all manner of liquids and can, in a pinch, serve as a toilet in crowded barracks. Now, considering we're in the medical area, it's a toss-up whether that serves as a toilet or a vomit bucket. Can I take anything from here? Ooh. This box is filled with dusty scrolls. You poke through them a bit. It looks like they're on herbcraft and the properties of certain local herbs. Do you spend a while studying the scrolls? Sure. These scrolls tell you more than you ever wanted to know about the local mosses, lichen, shrubs, trees, and other plants, accumulated slowly by Roman surgeons on Britannia over the last few decades. Most of it is too detailed and esoteric for you to benefit from, but you do learn of several healing herbs that may be of use. You now know how to make healing draft. To make this potion, you need healing herbs. Makes sense. Okay, cloth and dagger. Bones and healing herbs. And I probably can take some of this stuff if I want to, but I should close the door first. I don't know if I feel like stealing just yet. You come across the key staple of any well-equipped fort, the camp doctor. Roman medicine is unreliable, but much better than anything the local clansmen have. He's getting on in years, though he still wears his armor well. He shakes your hand. I am Lucius. Welcome to my office. Are you well? He looks you over, searching for fresh wounds. As he looks at you, you look at his office. Although he is a Roman, he seems to have been a keen study of the healing arts of the local savages. Bundles of strange herbs and bottles of peculiar goo cover the shelves along the walls. You are the doctor for this fort? I am. I can heal you if you need it. He sighs. Which you probably will. People keep getting wounded around here, as if I don't have other duties. It sounds like this personally offends him. Lucius has studied the more exotic healing arts of Shadowvale. He is capable of healing even the most devastated character. After your adventures, visit him if someone has a nasty case of the deadness. What are your other duties? Well, I'm not just a doctor, I'm a soldier. I have all the responsibilities that come with my rank. You lumps of meat tend to forget that. It's all I can do just dealing with the things I see going on patrol. He sighs. A soldier's life. It has its points, but I'm starting to get tired. What kinds of things do you see on patrol? He suddenly looks nervous. Like many of the men in this fortress, he seems hesitant about speaking with you. He says, in a flat voice, There are rogue natives about, and wolves. It can be dangerous, and the terrain is rough. Tired. Patrol makes me tired. I'm sure you know how it is. He smiles weakly. Well, if we don't know now, I'm sure we will soon enough. He chuckles. You're young. You don't understand yet. You have the girls, but as you get on in years, you start to miss having a hearth, a home, a common-law wife, and a few acres of grain. That's what I want now. Will I get it? He shakes his head sadly. I don't know, but I hope. Can you tell me about this fort? Shadow Valley Fort. 300 soldiers, and only me to look after them. And plenty of them keep getting wounded, even though we're far from any action. Why are they getting wounded so much? Suddenly he seems to decide that he's said enough. Wounded? Oh, yes. Wild animals. Accidents. Nothing unusual or out of the ordinary. That seems unlikely, but you don't push it. He spends a while looking you over, grumbling every moment. He gives you whatever salves, herbs, and unguents he feels you need, curing you as well as his limited capabilities allow. When he finishes with you, you do feel invigorated. Then Lucius plops back down into his chair, annoyed by the interruption. I have now been healed from the damage I took from bashing open the door. Look in all the things. And yeah, definitely can't take any of these without Lucius kicking up a fuss. He's got his own little herb garden. Aha. As you try to leave the fort, a guard walks out and stops you. Sorry, he says. We're not supposed to let you leave until you see Commander Vibius. He's in the headquarters building. The guard returns to his post. Yeah, a little bit of railroading at the start here. Quartermaster. Attention visitors, buying and selling available. Don't mind if I do. Many people hold power in a Roman fortress, in varying degrees, but the quartermaster is the master of his own vital domain. He controls the tools and weapons by which soldiers live or die, and is generally treated with the utmost respect. Unfortunately, as often happens with people of his ilk, he is unhappy to see you. He knows that you only come to drain his resources. Call me Quintus. Welcome to my storehouse. And don't get your hopes up. I don't give charity. Any equipment you want beyond what the Tribunus Militium specifically says, you'll have to trade for it. Okay, and what does a quartermaster do? I keep track of the supplies and make sure everyone gets just enough to do their job and no more. I think you should know just how lucky your position is. He shrugs. Anything you want to sell me? Why am I lucky? Well, we have to scrounge for much of our equipment. We look out for ourselves out here. However, good old Commander Vibius himself has said I should find you bonus items. I guess you're all pretty special. He looks you up and down. Who knows why? Don't you get regular shipments from Rome, out here in the back of Beyond? He looks perplexed. You know, I mostly keep to myself and look for supplies. I'm not really told much. I just do what the commander says. But we sure don't get much equipment, especially for a fort of this size. I don't know why we aren't sent more, but, well, it's not my business to worry, but to take care of the problem. And I do. What sort of bonus things can I get? Quintus walks over to a pile of sacks of grain and searches under it. After a bit of searching, he finds a flask and brings it over to you. Hooray, a single potion. Here you go. Come back when you finish another mission, and I might have something else for you. He also gives you several healing potions, just so you weren't killed too early. Generous. And how are your supplies holding out? Well, we're out here in the wilderness, and for the most part, we need to look after ourselves. I have to do all sorts of trading and scrounging to get the equipment we need just to get by. For that matter, it's a huge bother just to get fresh meat. Well, where do you get fresh meat from? He smiles slyly. Let's just say we aren't the first Roman fort to be fed mainly by the little animals of the forest. Or anywhere else we can find them. Fair enough. Venison is tasty. That reminds me, if you ever need rations, I can give you your allotment. He gives you a small loaf of stale bread. There you go. Come back in a day or two, and I'll have another bundle for you. Yay. Okay, and lastly, who do you trade with to get your equipment? I have to trade a lot with the Brigantes, that's the local tribe, and with anyone who walks by, and passing caravans. Well, pretty much anyone. He thinks. You know you're lucky what with all you're getting. But I'm allowed to do more trading on top of that. If you'd like to do some barter, to purchase more supplies, let me know. You can sell me things too. Come back later. I don't have any more food for you yet. Fruit doesn't grow on trees, you know. Yaha. Let's see, weapons and armor. So we've got iron-studded, steel-studded chainmail, good old RPG standards, iron longsword, iron spear, quality iron spear. Ooh, Fabian doesn't actually have a spear. I should buy him one. And there's a few sets of boots, a few more shields, bronze helmet, gauntlets and bracers. This is a pair of boots made of very thick leather. Iron studs have been set in the soles, and the insides are lined with fur. Cozy. Ha. The large shield gets a different description. This style of long oval body shield, called a scutum by the Romans, is favored in combat by both Roman soldiers, along with armor, and Celtic warriors, along with not much else. Also, despite being described as oval, the graphic is rectangular. Limitations of the medium. Both Roman and Celtic warriors protected their delicate skulls with caps made from iron and bronze. They often had side flaps to protect the sides of the face. Leather gloves can protect your hands from the hard blows of combat. They also prevent blisters, and of course, painful chafing. Which I guess could be a thing if you're swinging around a sword or spear all day. Bracers do not get any flavor text. A spear is a roughly 6-foot-long piece of wood with an iron blade at the tip, often weighted with lead. They were very popular in combat, on the grounds that it's often a bright idea to hit your enemy before he even gets near you. I approve of these tactics. Both Romans and wealthy Celts wore chainmail in battle. This is a jacket made of intricately interwoven metal rings. It's very heavy, and it's about as strong armor as you can get. I wonder if there's any plate mail in this game. I'll find out. So while I'm here, we'll sell off a spare short sword. Quintus shows you what remains of Shadow Valley Fort's supplies. It's not impressive. They clearly haven't been sent much since the rebellion began. So we can buy more lockpicks, more first aid kit, some torches, and a few potions. So I should actually equip some javelins here. Well, I've basically managed to trade in 2 iron swords for an iron spear and come out even. Excellent. Okay. And let's get my frontliners a little more armor. I think I will not be unlocking that door anytime soon. Also, I'm very amused to see that all of my guys get shields of different colors. Looks like I found a mess hall. And someone with a portrait. You meet an old man, maybe even well into his 40s. He's a camp follower, one of the many old soldiers who hang around the fortresses, unable or unwilling to settle down on a farm somewhere. He's glad to have someone to speak with. He is eating a meal of stale bread, generously provided by the fort. He grins and shakes your hand. I'm Gaius. Nice to have someone to talk to. Nice to see a new face on this savage isle. What do you do here? Well, not much these days. I've served many years on this isle, and I know much about the savages. That's why Commander Vibius keeps me around. I can give a lot of advice. Why, I was a soldier for over 20 years. Which, to be fair, is a pretty long time to be a soldier. It's a very physically demanding job. I even served in the invasion of this isle under Claudius. Oh, that was an exciting time, I can tell you. He sighs. I suppose when I left, I should have found a wife and settled down. I tried, you know. But, well, it's the company of soldiers. That's true companionship. Nothing compares. I'll die in a fortress, a happy man. What'd you think of Claudius? Old Claudius. Old divine Claudius. He was a half-wit, but he did expand the empire. It was a great campaign. We defeated the natives time and time again. It's only a matter of time before we take over the rest of this isle. Mark my words. There's still half of Britannia waiting to be civilized. I just hope I live to see it. Yeah, about that. What do you think of this island? Britannia. Cold, wild, Hordes of screaming, naked blue savages. He chuckles. I love it. Wouldn't live anywhere else. Plus, I know plenty about the natives. Might as well just go down these in order. What do you know of Commander Vibius? Ah, yes. Commander Vibius and his ever-loyal right-hand man Decimus. They're two men who understand how the company of soldiers is better than all others. True warriors. I have no gripe against the commander. Good man. He keeps me around to give advice. Not many are wise enough to value the experience of an old soldier like me. He grins, revealing his few remaining teeth. What sort of advice can you give? Well, you know, I've spent most of my life around the natives here. People call them savages, and they are, but they're noble and brave, in their own way. If you want to know more about the natives, let me know. Sure. He thinks long and hard, watching you carefully with his milky eyes. Jeff, you're laying it on a bit thick with the premature aging here. Well now, the Brigantes nearby are odd ones. You know, they're a bit unusual. I know about them, and I've learned about some of their runes, enough to read them. I don't want to say more than that. When you've explored the Vale and seen some things for yourself, I'll tell you more. But for now, I think it's best to just keep my old mouth shut. Aw. The locals are literate? Most of the people on this isle aren't much for writing. Not like us. But the locals, they have these weird runes they write in sometimes. If I had an example, I'd show you. He grins. But I don't. Not a one. You'll just have to find one for yourself. Fine then. More barracks. And more barracks. You step into the central courtyard of Shadow Valley Fort, where formations are practiced and the troops can be reviewed. From this central area, you can get a good look at the outpost where you've been stationed. It's not a large fort. It's been constructed only recently. There aren't many soldiers about. A lot of them are probably on patrol or keeping the peace. But this fortress is also clearly staffed at far less than capacity. As you look around, you notice that the other soldiers seem to be watching you. Nothing overt, just the occasional surreptitious peek. They aren't friendly glances either. They seem nervous about your presence. An understaffed fort you've never heard of, full of edgy, uncomfortable soldiers. Even considering the rebellion raging to the east, this is still very unusual. Fortunately, headquarters are at the north end of this courtyard. As you approach the commander's office, the door opens and someone starts to emerge. You stand out of the way and watch. Oh, I'm getting cutscened. The person limping out of the commander's office was a Roman scout, probably reporting back from reconnaissance mission. The muddy stains on his armor and cloak tell you that much. However, that isn't what gets your attention. What you really notice are the fresh marks on his armor. There are scratches from barely deflected weapon blows. Not too odd. But there are also what look like claw marks on his legs, and scorch marks on his chest and arms, as if he was blasted by bursts of flame. The scout looks like he's barely escaped a very unusual ambush. He turns, looks you over, and smirks, as if daring you to ask what happened to him. Fine, I'll oblige. What happened to you? The scout laughs. Shadowvale happened, and we are all suffering through it. Go see the commander. You'll bear your marks soon enough. He decides that he's been sufficiently unhelpful and heads to the smithy to get his gear repaired. Ooh, I haven't found the smithy yet. So, this is Shadow Valley Fort headquarters. I will be saving it for later. You meet a small, wiry soldier with long, stringy hair. He stands near the west gate, keeping a careful eye on what's going on around him. I'm Servius. I'm the Tesserarius. Greetings. This Tesserarius is the soldier in charge of giving all the other soldiers the current passwords. He seems very nervous about talking to you. Well, I give the passwords to the soldiers, and I keep a close watch on things for the commander. You're keeping watch? Since I spend most of my time at the walls, speaking with soldiers leaving on and returning from patrol, I tend to collect a lot of information on happenings in the Vale. I then report this information to the commander. Sensible. Makes my life more interesting, of course. There's little that's more dull than waiting in a fort for something to happen. You've learned in the past how true that can be. What information have you gathered? And are you able to tell any of it to me? He suddenly starts to look very nervous. Yes, just watching happenings in Shadowvale. But it's been quite quiet. Nothing's been happening. Very nice and peaceful, just so you know. Having said that, he smiles serenely. Lies and pictures of also lies. Has this been your post for long? No, I was just a scout before. The previous Tesserarius was a friend of mine, Titus Vorenus by name. He seems to be eager to talk about Titus, enough so to overcome his nervousness about you. A good friend, but then he left. Tell me more? He starts to talk, but then he stops. He remembers who he's talking to. I'm sorry, fellow citizen. You are new here. I would rather not open my heart to you. I don't want to have to open my veins because of it. Okay, then. What do you think about our commander? A totally innocuous question, I'm sure. He looks away. Commander Vibius Valerius Rufus, and his second-in-command Decimus Didius Fulvus, our leaders. Good men. And that's all he says. An unusually terse response. Can I get the current password? You don't need to know the passwords. It's all right. Honored visitors like yourselves can come and go as you please. As he speaks, he seems to be avoiding eye contact with you. This feels unusual and, less secure than I would expect. I'm an honored visitor? Yes, visitors such as yourselves are to be treated with the greatest respect and courtesy. You aren't sure what he means by visitors such as yourselves, and he doesn't seem inclined to elaborate. Why am I starting to get the feeling that I am both valuable and expendable at the same time? Oh, there's horrors here. In typical, efficient Roman fashion, this soldier is hard at work as the fort blacksmith. Above the waist, he's stripped. Below the waist, he's still in battle dress, ready for an attack. He's bathed in sweat and busily hammering away at a spearhead. He doesn't break the rhythm of his work while he answers you. Clang, clang. Brennus. Clang, clang. Tap, tap. Clang. What you doing? He frowns. You're clearly an unwelcome distraction. I'm hammering. Clang, clang. On this weapon. I repair things. Clang. Someone has to. Clang, clang, clang. So that you can go out and explore. Do you only repair weapons? Yes. Clang. People fight. Clang. Things break. Clang. Weapons. Clang. People. Clang, clang. Some fix one. I fix the other. Clang, clang. Have you been out in the Vale? Bad place, the Vale. Clang, clang, clang. Can't say I'm sorry I spend my time here. What sort of weapon are you working on? He holds up the red-hot spearhead with a pair of tongs, inspects it, frowns, and starts pounding on it again. Do you have any blades for sale? Clang, clang. Talk to Quintus. Clang. The quartermaster. Tink, tink, tink. Clang. So the smithy is a very important historical part of a Roman fortress, but weapon repair is generally not something I need to worry about in this game engine. Also, I've been at this for a little while now, so I think I'm going to save the last corner of the fort for another episode. Until next time, when we find out our primary mission here at Shadow Valley Fort. Have a good one, and take care, everybody.